Hi, Stefan.
Hello, how are you?
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, here we are again.
yeah,
I'm actually going to hold my hand up and take full responsibility for what's happened over the last three games. I'm long enough in the tooth to have known better, but since I said I think we can write West Ham off for top six, it's all gone Pete Tong. Um, it's the hope that kills you, Stefan.
it
The
is.
hope killed
Absolutely.
you. I had hope for about 30 minutes today after the Spurs result, which was like,
Yeah, again, you talk about being long in the tooth. I knew, while I enjoyed it, I knew not to enjoy it too much.
yeah. Oh, but look, do you know, here we are again. Two more games gone, and we're still 3 points behind fourth place with a game in hand.
So what you're saying is it's still in our
No,
hands? It's not in our hands, is it? No.
no. Chelsea away, Man United at home. I mean, I did, in fairness, before today, I did think Arsenal United game on Saturday could be a dead rubber in terms of top four, because they go to Liverpool and we go to Chelsea. I'm assuming we'll both lose those games,
Hmm.
and I assume Spurs would win today, and Spurs would have been a shoe in um, for that fourth spot. It's not materialised like that. I mean, I still think we'll lose against Chelsea, and United will lose against Liverpool, but anyway. So, how are you feeling?
Yeah, just, gutted, despondent. It's
Talk, talk.
it's all about the sort of, it's hard to, and right. I think this is why football fans get so angry, because it's so hard to manage all these different sort of ways of thinking, because on the one hand, yep, young team, only finished eighth last year, rookie manager, have certainly made some progress, didn't expect to be in a race for fourth, and yet when you're in such a strong position to go on a run as devastating as this at this time, you can't do anything but feel really annoyed and
Yeah,
fed up
I
by that.
mean, you talked about after the last defeat. You talked about kind of having a rational or needing a night's sleep before being able to adopt a more
Mm.
rational approach to the game. But it's increasingly difficult to do that even after a
Yeah,
night's sleep
yeah.
because of that sense, the unavoidable sense, inescapable sense that we've
Mm.
completely thrown it away, snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, kind of.
Does
Um,
feel like that.
it's. I think it's the three teams in opposition. Um, to lose to three bottom half teams, ostensibly with nothing to play, then they're completely safe. And
It's a funny one as well, because obviously lots of stats around the games, watching the game, whether it's live or on telly or whatever, and then understanding the context of them. Again, none of it makes any sense. All right, Palace are a good side. They're having a decent season. Hard to beat. We go away to theirs and we don't turn up. It's a performance that wouldn't be worth even drawing a game, let alone winning one.
yeah,
And you sort of take that. In the following game, you're at
but
home
hang
to
on, just but on the absolutely agree with that on the Palace game. But they hadn't won a game in 2022 before they played
Well,
us.
this is where I'm getting to, because then you play Brighton at home and you think, come on, it's Brighton at home, and then you hear stats like they're unbeaten in games in London this year. So them beating Spurs earlier on in the day, not actually that much of a surprise, but still in your head you're going, yeah, but it's Brighton, and so come on. And it's the same with us last week. And now I don't think our performance was at all good last week, except in the last, 10, 15 minutes, they looked like they gave a damn and tried their hardest. Today is probably the weirdest one, because listening to the commentary through the Arsenal app, because I couldn't be at the game today, actually we played all right, and we created a number of chances. Forster
21.
Forster had a good game by all accounts, and yet this is Southampton, who haven't kept a clean sheet in 10 games. They've conceded 10 goals in their last 2 games. Why aren't we able to take advantage of that? It makes no sense whatsoever.
Right. So on that, I'll give you some statistics. I like a statistic. Me. We had 21 shots today, 5 on target. I've seen a couple of opportunities. The Saka one in the first half, he should have buried it. Simple as that.
I've not
lack
seen
of
any of them, but
you'll see it on Match of the Day perhaps later. I don't know.
I will not be watching.
No, this is true. This is true. We have in the last 3 games. So those 3 games about which you speak, we have conceded from 21.7% of the shots faced. So every 5th shot has gone in. Now, flip that. We have scored from 1.8% of the shots taken. Thanks to Matt Scott on Twitter for that one.
Not good enough, is it?
And I think this points to it. And I don't want to get into this particular narrative about January transfer window, but it was a gamble. We all knew it.
It's funny you say that. I was very sort of open-minded about the whole thing, but this run of games against these sets of teams shows that, we all know Oba probably had to go for the good of the squad and, the development in the future. But to then leave yourself with Lacazette and Nketiah for the rest of the season, would have been fine had Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saka kept chipping in the way they have been doing. But they're kids. And to expect them to carry that burden is it's too much. And it's come back to bite us, because the next 3 games, Chelsea, Man United, West Ham, I don't see us winning again.
Well, I do. Chelsea will have given up the ghost in the league. I assume they'll beat Palace tomorrow in the semi-final, right? Look, Hank, stick with me. Man United are as much of a car crash. It's actually more of a car crash than we are, because you talked about at the outset there. I still like where we're going. We've just left ourselves short in the striking up department.
I've said for a long time that United have, as much as they're an absolute basket case, I find them utterly dull to watch when they are on telly and all these sorts of things. They have quality individuals that will see them over the line. Another Ronaldo hat-trick today when they threw away a 2-goal lead against Norwich, of all people. I'd kill for someone who just steps up in a moment of, crisis like that. And I just think, it's that classic narrative. Now would be a good time for us to play United because they're not doing all that, but neither are we. And I just don't see how this ship turns now.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the interesting one on Saturday morning. And then West Ham away, who will be focused on the Europa League without a doubt as well. And I think our game is sandwiched between their 2 semi-finals. So,
but like today against Southampton, who concede goals, at a ridiculous rate, and we can't really trouble them. And it's just so worrying.
Well, it is, but we all know, we know the reason. We created 21 chances today, so it's not the creation, it's the taking of these chances. And that's not just a Lacazette issue or an Nketiah issue today. It's a team issue. But if we have that Ronaldo, that focal point, that we know that we've got, and we will have, I assume we will have this person or persons in the summer transfer window. But my question back to January is, yes, Aubameyang had to go for the greater good, etc. But did he have to go in January? Could he not have gone in the summer?
That will remain.
I saw. I mean, Arsenal Twitter's an interesting landscape at the best of times, but there's quite a large faction that use every Aubameyang goal to kind of support their point that they believed he shouldn't have been sold. And then the other half of the fan base kept retweeting the image of him missing a tap in for Barca midweek from 3 yards, saying, "Well, this is why he had to go, because this is what he was doing for us."
But no, it's not even what he was doing on the pitch. I think the reason he had to
no, absolutely,
is how he was around the club.
Yeah.
He can't act like the superstar. That's not what we want to sort of engender in the club.
No, I know, and I was on board with it at the time, but we left ourselves. I mean, I said this last week as well, but the Burnley game, after the Burnley game, the 0-0, I said on camera, if we don't sign a striker in January, we're not going to get top 6.
And you might now,
yeah. So that's the bloody thing I'm right with. Like, why that one?
If you make enough predictions, one of them will be right.
Yeah, one of them's going to stick. I'm going to, in that case, I'll take that, and I'll just make nothing but good predictions in future. So one of those will stick. I'm going to try something fancy here on my new thing. I'm going to put up the team sheet. Look at that.
Oh wow!
Can you see that?
I can see that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Slight issue is I'd done this before the game started, and this isn't quite how we played out. Saka actually played on the left, I believe, to offer a bit more protection for Tavares, and his chance did come as the ball was squared across to him. Nketiah did actually good work in winning the ball back, and the ball was squared to him, and he really should have buried it. He shouldn't have given Forster a chance. So what did you think when you saw the team then?
I mean, I'm always going to be surprised when Tavares comes back into the fold, because I don't know whether it's the way he's been treated, or you just don't expect a player to come back from the setbacks he seems to have had. However, looking at that side at least has round pegs in round holes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That Xhaka was so much more effective in midfield, and again from the commentary, kept popping up in places that were quite advantageous to us. But it's a weird one. I obviously know a couple of people at the game, and as much as it seemed like those of us that weren't at the game felt we done all right, I suppose, and that's not masking the fact that it was an absolutely dreadful result. But the guys coming away from the game said, no, totally aimless,
Really?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, they had a much more negative view on proceedings and how it went. Yeah, but
that's interesting. Yeah,
when you saw that team, you were like, okay, well, that's probably as good as it can be. Something had to change, and Lacazette wasn't even on the bench.
He apparently has COVID.
Right. Well, yeah.
I mean, he was missing from first team training photos for the last couple of days. Yeah. And then he officially has got an illness, but I did read somewhere else that it's I think it's been said it's COVID, but he's got an illness anyway. So it kind of forced Arteta's hand. I agree. I'm switching Martinelli and Saka was an interesting one, maybe, but I'm not. I don't have an issue with that. I think that's good. You want your front three to be quite fluid and flexible, interchangeable, if you like, or your front three with Ødegaard rather than Nketiah.
They're all capable of playing in all those positions. Really.
Exactly. And by all accounts, Tavares did okay.
Yeah. Round of applause when he went off. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's quite important.
Yeah.
Because
he's probably going to have to play there for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I can see Chelsea and United targeting him
massively.
But we don't. It's how quickly have we gone from a team? I know it's again things that come back to bite you. What did I say? My takeaway from one of the games a while ago was that we find a way to win.
Yeah, and hard to beat and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, and that seems to have just completely dissipated. And can we put that down to Tierney and Partey, their absence?
I think Partey has a massive influence at both ends of the pitch. Tierney, yeah, we've said all season that he's not been offering quite as much going forward, but he's such a solid defender.
Yeah.
And he's a key leader on the pitch and all those sorts of things. But Partey, that link, you know, mopping things up when opposition are on the attack, and then, you know, quite often, not always, but quite often finding passes setting us off going forward as well, does make a massive difference. But I think ultimately, you know, because of the age of the team, because they're so young, we are fragile in terms of confidence and form. And, you know, we're in the business end of the season when it counts, and, you know, having to dig deep and knowing what it takes to do that, you know, we just don't have experience of that, really.
Yeah. I remember mentioning something a few games ago that Klopp said. He said the last 8-9 games, it's all in the head. It's now, because there's fine margins between success and failure, and so it is that little bit extra. Actually, Gunnerblog tweeted something that I thought was quite interesting, and I kind of agreed with it. He said that there's actually not a huge amount of difference between our performances, like say today against Southampton and against Wolves when we won. We created 21 chances today, away from home, only 5 on target, so we know where the issues are. It's a well-travelled path, that is. It's just that fine margin, and that's where we are. That's why we are a 5th to 8th placed team in the Premier League. I think.
And so are Wolves.
Sorry.
And so are Wolves.
Yeah. No. When you're winning games by I don't know. When was the last time we turned a team over? It's before Christmas, wouldn't it? Like Leeds.
Yeah, the Leeds game and the Norwich game, really.
Yeah. So when it is such fine margins, then because we know going away from home and conceding 1 goal is no great disaster. You know, it shouldn't mean that we lose every game 1-0, but we know where the issues are. And I must admit, you look ahead and you think Chelsea away, United home, West Ham away, and you're thinking, right.
Even the other 4 games, so 7 games left, and those other 4 after the next 3, you know, Spurs, Newcastle, Everton, Leeds. You know, Everton are still trying to make safety a reality, so that could still be in play. Newcastle are doing everything to build, and those players seem to have improved from a lot from where they were. Leeds are starting to get some of their injured players back and looking a little bit more like they were. And Spurs, who, taking today's shambolic non-performance out of it, have been in form and doing well. And they've got that 4th placed carrot to sort of aim for. And so I just, and with the way we're playing, keeping things narrow, but losing that firepower, it's nothing but doom and gloom from where I'm sitting. You know, regardless of how tough the next 3 fixtures are, I even see the last 4 as really tough as well.
Well, the thing is, Spurs, I think, have been really lucky. I think they've been lucky with the timing that they've met their respective, the opposition in each case. Like West Ham, straight after a quarter-final, extra time, Bowen missing, things like that. And I think today was the first time they came up against a team. Okay, Villa away maybe, and they actually, but even Villa away should have scored. Spurs have been scoring. Spurs have been doing the opposite of us. I don't have a statistic or the percentage, but where we've scored from 1.8% of our shots on target, Spurs have been scoring from like 80% of their shots, of their attempts on goal. And today they didn't have one. They had no shot on target today at all.
It was awful.
And I mean, I didn't watch it at all. Like, I'm not subjecting myself. It's cruel enough watching Arsenal.
I didn't mean to, but we were out in the sun, but it was getting sort of like dangerously hot, so we just came in and snoozed on the sofa.
I love that. only in the UK could 19 degrees be described justifiably as dangerously hot.
Hey,
I'm in.
Fair skinned. I burn
Yeah, no.
under a mild lamp.
Yes, I know. If it goes into double figures, I'm getting the sun cream out.
Absolutely.
I don't know what else. I mean, the game, we haven't seen it.
No, it's hard to talk about the game because we haven't seen it. But I mean, again, all it felt like listening to it was very few chances, like proper gilt edge chances, but quite a number of saves from Forster, really. And then it sounded like we went a bit to sleep for our goal. And yeah,
I've seen the Southampton goal, and it was very lucky as well. We cleared a corner, and the guy just literally hooked it back over his head, and a couple of guys were coming back from offside, they didn't go for the ball, and I can't remember who it was, just happened to be running in the right direction. I don't know, was it Lokonga or White? I couldn't tell. The screen was too small. Didn't get out quick enough, perhaps, to close down the shot, and he kind of just hammered it in from relatively close range. Again, it was just, just a fortuitous, I think. It wasn't great play on their part. It was just, hit and hope and take advantage of it, and being a bit more, maybe they were a bit more reactionary in the box, and took their chance with their first shot on target, as well. Sounded like the intensity was there from half-time onwards. From us, it was better. Again, I made notes of lots of chances, but very few on target. It was, I think, 3 on target from 17 at one point, and then I think it finished 5 from 21 on target. And Forster, I did, 3 or 4 good saves on his part. But what else have I written down? Yeah, that's it really. I mean, yeah, I won't watch Match of the Day either.
Yeah. Like I say, guys I know at the game, other than they felt like a lot of the attacking play seemed quite aimless, also said that actually at the end, when the final whistle went, there was some aggro amongst our fans as well. So these 3 results seem to have built up this kind of, and it is, look, it's all from the same place. Everyone's disappointed and a bit, annoyed at seemingly throwing 4th spot away. But it's just daft to really react like that. But it will be very interesting given next Saturday. I know we've got Chelsea midweek, but that's away. And no one will really expect to go to Chelsea and get a result, even if they have got a cup semi-final tomorrow. But United at home will be very interesting to see how we approach that as a fan base, as much as a
team. It could, because I know there's a lot of, I could get strung up for this, but I actually see United as a more hated opposition than Spurs. I know that's kind of against the Arsenal DNA, but I think it just harks back to that rivalry.
Yeah.
I'm twitching in my seat now, just even talking about them and talking about the game next Saturday. So it could absolutely, if Ronaldo scores after 10 minutes, you could see that. I could really see, because I said to you last week, if it wasn't for that last 5-10 minutes where we really did put the pressure on against Brighton and get a goal, and then hit the woodwork a couple of times, the crowd, if the game had just petered out the way it was threatening to, the atmosphere had definitely changed in the stadium for the first time. And interesting what you say today, then, that the away fans, there's not the in-house fighting perhaps, but the kind of expression of angst perhaps.
Yep. grumbling.
It's building, and yes, if United, as we assume we will lose to Chelsea on Wednesday, and then if we were to lose to United as well, that would be 5 consecutive defeats with West Ham away next.
Yeah,
I mean, Arteta's not going anywhere, no matter what happens in the remaining games, but the noise would be quite loud.
Yeah. And I think everyone knows that actually then the pressure will be on the club to reinforce this team, because even though they're trying to have a smaller squad, it needs so much more quality to be able to turn to. And that's, I don't like, putting down young players who are hungry for it, but that's the nature of the sport now, is to have, quality players to turn to. And if we have real designs on top 4, then we have to have more ability and quality to be able to turn to. So that makes the summer so important, to recruit well and reinvigorate. Because like you say, actually, the thing that worries me is what this run of form does to the team, because actually there should be at the end of the season a lot to be positive about. But if it's all about how it ends. And if it ends so dejected, I worry that, to get them to go again after the summer will be quite tricky. But if
it happened with Emery, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And he didn't survive a bad start to the following season.
No.
We're actually only 4 points better off than this time last year now.
Yeah.
After these 3 games with the same games played, that's against the same teams. That's not the number of games played, but it's against the same teams, with the promoted teams replacing the relegated teams. We're only 4 points better off. I don't know, what did we do against Chelsea away last year? We didn't.
To be honest, I don't remember. I remember the League Cup win, because Martinelli scored that breakaway goal that was absolutely fantastic. But that was in the League Cup, I think. And
United at home.
I think we beat them. I can't remember.
No,
can't remember anything. Last season was a blur, because we weren't there for some of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember that either. It's this heat, Stefan.
We won against Man United.
We beat United,
and according to this, it was on New Year's Day.
I wasn't there. I must have been there New Year's Day. I would have been. No, was it actually in front of fans?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I've got 19. Oh, that's the wrong year. I keep a record on my phone because I have to apply for tickets through the supporters club and stuff. And I've missed out 2020-21. I just haven't included that year. So I don't know.
Yeah, so
I don't know. What's going to be interesting as well for next week at Man United? I don't know about you, but my routine will be completely different, because normally we get a supporters club coach down to the game to United, but there isn't one because there wasn't enough interest to book a coach, so it would have been on a minibus, and the guy who drives the minibus, I think, is at a wedding. So everyone, the sort of dozen or so people who are season ticket holders who live in the eastern region where we are, we've all got to make our own way there. So me and a friend are driving down. So we're not on the coach. We're going to obviously think about where we park and walk into. We're probably going to have to eat somewhere different and do the whole routine. But I'm wondering if that'll be a good thing.
If it is, it means that's what you have to do every home game.
Well, so be it. For the rest of the season, I'll take that hit. If next week, we drive down to Cockfosters and tube it in and get a dirty kebab at Finsbury Park, and then that's what I have to do for the rest of the season, I will do that if that's what it takes to
right,
turn
so Saturday morning for me, 8 a.m, I have a chiropractor visit to crack my back, which I booked in today. I had one today and I booked in for next Saturday. Completely forgot the football was on.
And it's
that early. I tutor for an hour at 9:15 So 9:15 to 10:15.
So, are you even going to make the game?
Yeah, so I think, so we'll be straight in the car, and it's on a Saturday morning at that time. 45 minutes should see me parked up, in the usual slot, and so we'll normal service will be resumed from that point, perhaps. But I'm not promising to have my back cracked just before every home game should we actually beat United next week. It's not the most pleasant of experiences. Right. I think we've done well to muster enough energy to talk for 32 minutes.
What do we do? What do we do against Chelsea? How do you even change it? Because player-wise and squad-wise, the only things would be to maybe bring Smith Rowe and Pepe in. That's all I can see.
You set out not to lose the game. Another approach.
For me, I'm wondering if 3 at the back with wing back is the way to go. Arteta has got a free hit. Surely, no one would forgive him for being a bit more defensive next game.
And he did it second half today. We went to 3 at the back when Cedric came off. Apparently, Cedric took, I don't know what he's been doing in training, but he took 2 free kicks.
I know, I heard that
both abysmal.
I heard it on the commentary, and I said, "Oh, Holly will be doing his 9."
And he the two of them I followed, as well as listening to the commentary on the Arsenal app. I had Arsblogs text commentary as well. He's funny. He wasn't the biggest fan of Cedric taking those set pieces before he took them. And his response, once they were taken by Cedric, well, I couldn't repeat them here. I think you set out not to lose the game. I know you just have to. I think a point away to Chelsea, what in the context of losing 3 games to Southampton, Brighton, and Palace is not great. But you can't see an away game at Chelsea in that context. You've got to see it on its a point away at Stamford Bridge, and I think will be. Are there away fans there? By the way,
yes, there are.
There are. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So no, I take a point now away at Chelsea. I take 4 points from the next 2 games all day long. I think it'd be fantastic.
But the problem is, you talk about taking points from these games coming up, but it's just so hard not to think about the fact that we've taken 0 points from these last.
I can't see how we take them from these games. I just can't see how it's possible.
No.
But that's happened in 3 games, and we're missing 3 first 11 players. But 2 fullbacks is quite critical to how we play.
Especially defensively. I know Cedric's filled in quite well, but
and yes, the kind of that link in the middle of the park, who had been playing extremely well before his injury. But will we see Tomiyasu again? I don't know. It's like
they weren't confident on the Arsenal commentary. They're not sure he might be back all season. And that's true of Partey and Tierney as well. So, because they were saying that he was supposed to be back in April, Tomiyasu, from this calf injury, and it's mid-April. So, who knows what's going to happen now?
You just don't lose the game. Go back to that. Backs to the wall, that
low block,
that fire in your belly,
low block, hit on the counter, use Martinelli's pace, use.
In fact, you'd play Martinelli through the middle for that one. I mean, Nketiah's got pace as well, I guess, but it's
Martinelli would be more of a nuisance, though. I think.
You don't use Lacazette is the bottom line. That's
essentially it.
But
then Chelsea play wing backs, don't they? They play 3 at the back quite often. So would it? I don't know. They just boss possession.
But that's fine. That's fine. We're happy to concede possession.
We bossed possession today, and look what that did us.
Yeah, exactly. And teams will happily do that against us. So we should be prepared to do that away at Chelsea, so away at Liverpool, away at City as well, and home to those teams, possibly. Yeah, I was kind of hoping that. Well, I don't know if I was hoping. What did you want, Chelsea or Real Madrid to get through during the week?
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't particularly bothered either way. And for some reason, I can't remember why, but I think I missed the start of the game and didn't realise that they were back into it because I assumed it was a done deal, to be honest. And then switched on when they, got a couple of goals back and it had evened up the tie. And yeah, what a thrilling, entertaining game.
Oh, that second half was one of the best second halves I've seen all season, no question. It was crazy, just brilliant. Yeah. And I thought Alonso was really unlucky to have been penalised for handball for his absolute rocket of a goal into the top corner, which would have put Chelsea through. But then Real Madrid may well have gone and scored again. But I would. I mean, I'm happy. I've no love for Real Madrid at all, but I've less love for Chelsea. I was quite happy for Chelsea to get knocked out, other than the fact that it might have helped us if they still had an eye on a semi-final. But it's opening up for the quadruple for Liverpool.
Yeah, they were. I sort of knew. I don't know why, because I watched Man City, Atletico Madrid. There's something I find fascinating about watching Atletico Madrid and their dark arts and defensive play.
That was so funny.
It was, to be honest, I found that almost as entertaining for completely different reasons as the Chelsea Real Madrid game, because it's just a farce. The whole thing is a pantomime. Yeah. It's so funny to watch, and I thought actually Man City coped quite well, but
brilliantly
they were done, mentally and physically. Yeah, that clearly took a lot out of them. So I really expected Liverpool to. I wasn't at all surprised that they basically blew them away in the first half.
Yeah, and that was Klopp's plan. You knew that would be the case. I loved Foden getting injured, and it was a free kick. But when he realised he'd rolled the other side of the white line, and so he rolled back again. Yeah. Oh, every single Atletico Madrid player would have done exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Totally.
And the faux outrage was just priceless. I absolutely loved it. And Jack Grealish. Was he at the end of the game? Or?
Had his hair pulled.
But you got to see the camera angle from that, but from the other side, so you can see what Jack Grealish is saying. You can lip sync quite easily. Yeah. You can read what he's saying to Savage. I can't say it now, but he's got a grin on his face, and he's basically saying, "You're just, aren't you?" Like that. And so that's why he didn't react when Savage pulled his hair. He didn't react at all. He just laughed at him, and I think Savage waited for him in the tunnel afterwards as well. Because Savage, I forgot, used to play for Man City.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, 8 years ago. Yeah.
So no, absolutely. I thought that was just brilliant. Again, for exactly the same as you just said. For very different reasons, I enjoyed. I actually only watched the second half in both games.
Right.
I convinced Jenny that in terms of balance and fairness, that it was only right and proper that we watched the second half of those games. But I'd been keeping an eye on the scores. I figured, I sensed that the second half were going to be interesting for different, and they were. And she really enjoyed watching them as well, which is quite. She said that the Champions League is far more interesting than the Premier League.
That's a twist of the knife.
Yeah, wasn't it? Okay. Europa League, anyone? No? Okay.
Conference, maybe.
And why if we were in West Ham's position, you may be sure that all these other big teams would have won their games. Like Barcelona going out. That doesn't happen for us.
Well,
I said I really want West Ham to win the tournament. I have a very large soft spot for West Ham, and I really do want them to win the whole thing outright and qualify for the Champions League. Good luck to them, and let them roll over against us next week or the next time we play, or when we play them in a couple of weeks. Very kind.
I can't see it.
No
one rolls over for us, and if they do roll over, we don't take advantage. That's the thing, isn't it? As well, even if they do play a bit rubbish, we don't really capitalise.
But you never know. A word you used a lot last week was momentum, and we've got none, 0. A draw, a battling draw on Wednesday night, a win. Like Brentford went to Chelsea 1-4-1. I know we're a better team than Brentford, so why can't we do that? Okay, we haven't got a striker. They had Ivan Toney, but it's like, so we shouldn't be so defeatist necessarily, because we are 3 points behind 4th place with a game in hand still. Okay, we are 6th place at the moment. So it depends on how you look at it.
I'm not convinced.
No, I'm not either. But it could. But that could, a performance out of the bag, unexpected, could completely transform the team. And then there are so few games. You go on a run, 5 wins now in the last 8 games, and you've probably guaranteed yourself 4th spot, because nobody else, everyone's dropping points. Like nobody predicted Spurs losing today.
No.
And they've got to go to Liverpool, and they've got to play us. So there's an opportunity that they'll, fail to win 2 of their remaining 7 games.
Well, no one seems to want it. So, as I think both managers, Conte and Arteta, have said, there's going to be twists. Nothing set. It's too close to call. It's too unpredictable.
Well, actually, are we that unpredictable?
Yeah.
You said it last week. You had no confidence we would go to Southampton and win.
No. Well, no.
You said it. In fact, you said that you'd even fancy us to do better against United at home than Southampton away.
Yeah, and that's very much still on.
Yeah. Because
I think the idea of that, because it shows it's that strange mentality that it's hard to read any other way than them going into a game and thinking, oh, it's only Southampton, they concede goals, we'll beat them. Whereas when they go into play a team like United, it's like, okay, we can get up for this one. It's like, well, no, the points were there against teams that could have been a lot more beatable. And, if you're a real winner, every game is an opportunity to win. So it makes me even more frustrated. But
absolutely. And I think that's been a symptom of the last 5-6 years, even longer, that there's been an arrogance about our mentality in games like this, where we believe we're better than the opposition. But actually,
I'd like to think this team don't really do that. They're young and professional enough, and Arteta's tried to make the team in that way, which worries me perhaps even more, because it just feels like they're just running on empty. And
I think that's it. I think you look around and they haven't got that leader now, with Partey and Tierney both out. They haven't got that character that they had in that run, and that has made a big difference. And even Tomiyasu as well, he'd very quickly become, you hear that phrase, first name on the team sheet. Well, all right, you can only have one first name on a team sheet, but Tomiyasu will play every game he's available for. Tierney will play every game he's available for. Partey will play every game he's available for. There's not every, so you'd have Ramsdale, White, and Gabriel in that mix as well. Xhaka at the moment in that team. The rest then are Saka, obviously, but then the rest then can kind of drift it in and out. So you basically taken away half of your reliables, your go-to players. It's still, and again, it's not just that. That's compounded by the fact that the replacements are that much inferior. Just a thing on Tierney, I know you're a big fan. Can we rely on him?
Well, physically,
Yeah.
You wonder if not. He
hasn't finished the season yet.
No, and I felt like he's had his best runs in the team this season, and we've commented on how he hasn't been bombing forward as much. So I wonder if they are hoping to manage it. Look, I think he got a knock playing for Scotland. That's basically a knee injury out of nowhere. So I'm not sure. I think it's hard to criticise him for this one.
Unlucky, yeah.
Yeah, I think this one is more to do with luck and just the way. I don't even know if I didn't watch Scotland. Obviously, why would I? But I don't know if it was a challenge or the twist or a fall
no idea.
or whatever. But it's just come to the fact that he's had to have the operation and we'll go from there. So I'm hoping, and some players, do it either way round. They are a little bit injured early in their career and then they're sort of, for want of a better phrase, their man strength kicks in and then they're okay later on in their careers. And others go the other way. They have a great run as teenagers and in their early 20s and then their body starts to fall apart. Jack Wilshere, for example. Yeah. So I'm hoping he's in the former and can kick on.
Partey is the worry because he didn't miss a game in 5 years with Atletico Madrid, and he's got this recurring muscle injuries now in the thigh. That's a little bit of a concern. Yep. But it seems to be something that blights us.
Well, I know of it's not conspiracy theory, it's just a theory that that a lot of our training pitches are mostly synthetic, so they have no give in them. So that's causing more stress on players and their physique than, if it were traditional grass. I don't know how much I would go with that. Because I'm sure actually a lot of the top clubs have this new sort of synthetic 4G, whatever pitches that you have, where it's kind of grass woven into other fibers.
And we haven't been that badly affected by injuries this season as a whole. It's just happened with these two players and obviously Tomiyasu as well. Now, and it's the fact that we've got such a small squad that's kind of made it.
It's the small squad that's the issue. Whereas before, we seem to have just injuries across everyone, and it would absolutely decimate us. What's telling is now we've got a smaller squad, players sold off, let go, on loan, or whatever. Any injuries now are just, they've been catastrophic. And it worries you. What if next week there's a couple more? Against Chelsea midweek, having playing 2 games a week, we lose one of the centre-backs. All right, Holding can come in, but, he's going to be coming in cold. Or we lose... what if we lost Xhaka? What if we lost Xhaka to injury now? Our midfield would just be so light.
I'm not sure who you'd play there.
I don't even know. You'd drop Odegaard in, and that would be Odegaard and Lokonga.
Well, they didn't do anything against Brighton.
No, well, exactly. Yeah, so, that's how thin and how, bleak it's got, really. So we hope and pray.
So the reason I asked you about Tierney initially was because just looking to the summer, we need one striker, possibly 2 strikers. If we're honest, we need a central midfielder, no question, to play with Partey. An upgrade on Xhaka, who I think's been quite one of our best players this season.
Well, it's someone to play with them, so we can rotate, so we can cover for injury. It's not. I don't even want to see it as a replacement for either of those. It's just we need more.
Yeah. Mm. So they're the 2 areas that I think all Arsenal fans can agree on that we need to focus on: striker and central midfielder.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Saliba's coming back as a centre back. We need him to, because I think Gabriel's been off his game the last 3 matches as well. Today, I was reading things about sloppy passes, and that's something that's seeped into. So I think he needed time out, but there's nobody to replace him.
No.
Again, you've got to, especially when you're losing your 2 fullbacks, you're not going to allow Gabriel to have a week off and rest him, because that would be too much when you need to win every game. So I'm assuming Saliba will come in. Pepe, we think, might be gone. I don't see any reason to keep him because he doesn't start him in any game. He comes off the bench because there's literally only him and Nketiah, or him and Smith Rowe today. So there's only two substitutions we can make any game now, because we've actually got a squad of 13 players that he uses, not including like Holding or Leno as well. But in terms of trying to unlock a defence or score a goal, we've got two options off the bench. So a winger, a left back, and a left back has a left back now seeped has a left back, or the need for a left back creeps up the need list more, because Tierney is a question mark. I don't know. It's
maybe. I mean, it depends what happens with Tavares as well. You know, if he can build some confidence and go into next season feeling a little bit more solid. I mean, I'd still like to see him go out on loan, and I think the same with Lokonga, especially if we're going to buy another midfielder, which I think we absolutely must. I do wonder if that would be the case, because to me, he needs. I'd like to see Lokonga almost have a Premier League loan, where, you know, the requirement is that he does play X amount of games, because to me, he's just not up to the pace of the Premier League. He still wants just that little bit too long on the ball. But like you say, with Tavares, yeah.
I mean, we'll hopefully have more games next season as well. So
Europe,
that's a consideration. Like, look at Conor Gallagher, who's gone from Chelsea to Crystal Palace for the season and completely torn it up there, and will not necessarily go straight back into the Chelsea team, but he'll certainly go back into the match day squad. And, you know, they've got Thiago in the middle there, haven't they? Is it Thiago? What's his name? 36. Oh, no, he's at the back, isn't he?
Oh, he's a centre back. No,
I mean, the Liverpool player I was thinking of. Sorry,
Kovacic and Jorginho, Kante.
Yeah, so he's got. So Kante's on the wane now, in terms of age.
In terms of age,
yes,
still one of the best midfielders in the world. But
yeah. So actually, Conor Gallagher's probably got he can probably see a route or pathway into that.
He's got time on his side, hasn't he?
Mm. Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll do a podcast on incomings and.
Is Chelsea on TV? Must be on TV.
Well, as it's a rearranged game, I don't know. To be fair,
no, I don't know either. I'm just going to have a quick look on thing. It is on Sky Sports on Wednesday. Yeah.
Right. And what time kickoff is that?
7:45. There are 3 other games that aren't on TV.
Right, so 7:45 kickoff. I'm unfortunately tutoring.
Right.
Until, and I say unfortunately, I mean fortunately. So I don't have to watch the first 30 minutes. By which point,
could be all over.
Yeah.
We'll be 4-0 up.
Yeah, that's it. You read my mind. Yeah.
That's the spirit.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it there. There's got to be 1,000,001 better things to do on an Easter Saturday evening.
Well, I must admit, that was my overarching feeling listening to the game. Was just, I could be doing anything else. The weather's amazing.
Yeah.
We've got loads of jobs to do around our little homestead, and I'm listening to this dirge. The inevitable defeat incoming as well. It just felt so inevitable. Oh, dear.
Made to feel worse by that 30 minutes of. I didn't know what the Spurs result was.
Oh, right.
I deliberately didn't check the phone until 2:30, when I knew it would be over. And as the BBC headline said, Brighton stunned Spurs with late winner. I'm like, it's on.
That was the beauty of it. That was the beauty of it. Spurs played. Don't get me wrong, Spurs played awfully. Probably should have had a man sent off. Brighton probably could have done as well, but obviously, if Spurs had, it would have changed the game anyway. And Brighton did exactly what they did against us. They were organised. They were difficult to break down. They played some tidy football. They weren't exactly peppering Spurs' goal with chances, but they really did look, a tidy sort of team. And Spurs did almost nothing to try and open them up, and, like you say, didn't have a shot on target. So for them, the ball to break to Trossard, who sells Eric Dyer a dummy that he's probably still spinning about, to prod home in the late 80s minutes or whatever it was,
90th minute.
It was just beautiful because it was just so late. It was so heartbreaking for them. Our defeat, whatever, we're on a crap run of form. And like I said last week, I don't necessarily expect us to do anything against Southampton because when our confidence is low, but it's the fact that their confidence should have been up. They were on a run of, was it 4 wins in a row?
At least
that they'd done. They were on it. They were in form, and they were playing at home to Brighton, and they were just so lackluster. And Brighton did a proper, number on them. It was great.
Has Conte come out and said he wants to leave Spurs yet?
I haven't seen that. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one. He must be thinking, how on earth is this team getting top 4? So yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. We'll reconvene on.
Here's a question. I've just had some messages come through for some other Arsenal friends. It's just like,
okay.
If we're not getting top 4, which we all assume we're not.
Oh no.
Who would you prefer, Spurs or United?
Okay, who would I prefer, Spurs, United? West Ham.
West Ham. Okay, good. Correct.
Not Spurs and not United. Actually, I meant to say this a bit earlier. I think what makes this capitulation over the last 3 games more difficult to process is the sense that this was our best chance, irrespective of what we do in the summer. United are going to spend a lot of money. So Liverpool and City are gone. I mean, especially City getting Haaland, if that actually does materialise. Chelsea
operating on another plane to everyone else. Yeah.
Chelsea, to all intents, will join them. So again, it's the rest of us vying for 4th. So you've got United and Spurs, and us and West Ham and Newcastle. We don't know what's going to happen with them and all their money. And it's like you just think, it
just gets harder and harder every year. It gets harder and harder.
Yeah. So, in fact, the Europa League might be the easiest way into the Champions League next season.
West Ham are banking on that, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's opened up for them.
All pound
So I'd be thinking, which of United and Spurs will benefit from having Champions League? I think United are going to spend money regardless. Now,
that doesn't make a difference to them, does it?
So, in theory, we should want them to get 4th because it will make little difference to them. Whereas Spurs Champions League, then it might make more of a bigger impact on impact on them.
Because Kane will stay, Son will stay,
yeah,
and Conte will be given some to play with to make that a successful season. Because Levy knows what a cash cow the whole thing is.
I just can't want United or Spurs. I can't wish success on either of them ever.
It's not wishing success; it's just accepting, the inevitable.
I mean, as a United mate of mine who's absolutely torn, he's like, it's going to be Liverpool City in the Champions League final. He's in a spin. He doesn't know which way to turn. It's like the devil in the deep blue sea.
Him.
It's like, but it'd be like us. The closest we got was Spurs Chelsea in the Spurs Liverpool in the Champions League final.
I mean that's the first Champions League final I've not watched, maybe ever, because I just couldn't bring myself to go through it.
Oh, I actually watched it, and it helps a lot that Spurs conceded in the first 3 or 4 minutes. But
Yeah.
it didn't help a lot that it stayed like that for the next 85 minutes until right at the
I
end.
couldn't handle that. No.
No, Spurs winning that would have been. But that's how this poor United mate of mine feels about Liverpool, in particular. Liverpool. People can rationalise Man City because they've just bought it.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of money. So same with Chelsea. But Liverpool. I mean, I don't have an issue with Liverpool. In fact, I like Liverpool because they wind United up as much as they do. That I can feel that kind of kindred spirit there somehow. So I'm not sure I want them to win the quadruple though.
No. Well, mind you, it'd be going one better than Fergie, so it'd be another poke in the eye to United.
Yes, it would. Yeah.
The pettiness of football fans.
Yeah, well, listen, we've got very little else.
Yeah, we're just going to try and bask in someone else's more misery.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but that's it though, isn't it? Because you can only have one team win the league, you know, so that means there are all the others who are experiencing various degrees of failure. And it's just like, well, our failure isn't as embarrassing as your failure. That's what we've got over United because of the money they've spent. Yeah, exactly. See, and I said to you last week, didn't I? I said Spurs still have to get Spursy. And you said they haven't done. And I said, yes, because it's not the time for Spurs to get Spursy. It's the game that you expect them to win comfortably, where they won't have a shot on target in the entire match.
And today is that day.
And today was that day, and we didn't capitalise.
No.
Unsurprisingly. Anyway.
Oh well.
Right, we've been ending this for the last 25 minutes. We've done well. So I'm going to click end broadcast. I've no idea what that does to the screen to the two of us. So just sit tight for a minute and we'll say goodbye to all the good folk who've made it this far, i.e. each other, and see you for the next one.
See ya.